Did you see this newest chapter of One Piece? Because if not, please go watch the chapter, then come right back, because I really have a lot to say. So I guess I'll wait for the good stuff till a bit later, just because it happened more towards the middle of the chapter. But it begins with meeting Sanji's little brother, Yanji. And Yanji looks just like Astro Boy, and they even have some of the technology very similar to Astro Boy. They're able to fly. So from the very first moment I saw Yanji, I was like, he looks a little bit like Astro Boy. I mean, it might be just me, but I thought he looked like Astro Boy, especially the hair slicked back. Astro Boy is actually what really started the whole anime culture. It was the first popular animated series in which what really began anime back in the 1960s, and it's very influential even today. And it's a little sad because I know it as Astro Boy, but it was called Atomic Man or Mighty Atomic. It's a little sad that we don't even know it by its original name, but we, of course, Americans have to call it as something that we would like it more than what the Japanese originally wanted it to be called. And then after we get a little appearance of Yanji and him being a douche and saying like, I'm not gonna help you, I can't help you, I'm rotten to the core, pirates just have to steal it from me, get ready for a fight. Right after that little snippet, then we are introduced to Sanji's might be older or younger sister, but it doesn't matter. But to Sanji's sister, Reiju. The one big similarity between Reiju and the rest of her siblings is, of course, the curly eyebrows. And it seems that's the only similarity as far as we can tell right now. One thing that's really interesting with her character design is Reiju has this cape that looks a little bit like a butterfly. And later in the chapter, kind of spreads its wings a little bit more, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. So Reiju jumps aboard the Straw Hat ship and asks Chopper, may I have a taste? And at first I was thinking like, oh, I just read that wrong. And then I was like, wait, have a taste? Is she gonna bite into Luffy and just like suck it out of him? Bite his arm or something? And I was like, no, Oda couldn't mean it like a kiss, like not like a Snow White kiss or anything like that. And then she says, thank you for the meal. And then she just begins to kiss Luffy for what is about 8 panels in which they show the reactions of everyone. And my favorite scene, of course, is Nami blushing. She has never blushed before, and even though I really am not into the idea of the One Piece couples, I really do like the idea of Nami and Luffy being up together. Of course, it'd be much better if there would be some tension between them, but of course, knowing Luffy and Oda, knowing the both of them, that they're not really gonna have that tension going on between them. That's actually one of the disappointments about One Piece, is that you don't actually ever get any romance in One Piece, and I really wish that would happen. I don't even think Nami's ever blushed before. She has shown her clothes, she's paid for people to look at her naked. I mean, at the end of the Alabasta arc, she just like took off her towel. But it's the first time I've actually ever seen Nami blush. And oh my goodness, I mean, I couldn't even believe that she would be blushing, because you almost expect her to be having sex. You almost expect her to have had sex before. Of course, not paid sex. That would be very against Oda. And it would also be against Shonen Jump in One Piece. But you kind of would expect her to be a bit more experienced. But the fact that she was blushing, it almost seems like maybe she's never kissed before. Which, I mean, this is of course very conjecture and speculation. But it does kind of make me wonder, not in like, I mean, it's One Piece. They're not just all making out with each other. They're stuck in a ship with each other. Young adult manga, and so we're not really ever gonna learn much about their like sexual desires or history or anything like that, or if we just kind of assume that they don't have any. It was the first time showing a female, especially like Nami, showing that she has some maybe desire or interest in kissing, or at least like a reaction towards it. And then at the very end of the kiss, Luffy's legs just go straight up like that. I'm like, oh my goodness, Oda. And then after that, you see the next panel that her cape wing butterfly thingy is just kind of like spread out, and then there's just this kind of like this light or this wind that just that shoots out for a second, and all of Luffy's poison has been sucked out of him, and it's now inside her, and she's like, thank you for the meal, it was delicious. And Luffy, of course, didn't even notice this. He's like, huh? I just fell asleep. I was eating some good fish, and then the next thing I know, I was asleep. Can I have some more? I was really disappointed that after that panel, we don't actually see any more interaction from like Nami discussing like, oh, so you got a kiss or anything. I really would like for that to happen in the next chapter. She like, so how was that kiss? Or do you know what happened? And her be blushing. But I really don't think we're gonna get that that reaction or that discussion in the next chapter or even ever. And then freaking Brooke is just kind of like, ooh, I want a kiss too. I want a smooch. And I'm just like, shut up, Brooke. This is why you're my least favorite character of the One Piece Straw Hats. I mean, it's already bad enough that you're constantly saying, can I see your panties? But really? Someone's getting kissed and they're being resuscitated and you're just like, can I have a free smooch? So Luffy wakes up and then he sees Reiju and he's like, oh, hey, it's Sanji. And Chopper's like, she's a woman. And then after that, Reiju begins discussing and explaining why is it that Sanji's poster has only the wanted alive. Many years before, back when Sanji had left them, Sanji's father wanted to find out where Sanji was and bring him back. And Sanji's father has connections to the Marines. They haven't explained exactly what those connections are to the Marines specifically. They do actually explain that Sanji's family is royalty from the north, and that they had at one point ruled the north with an iron fist, basically. And now they are no longer rulers of the sea, they are no longer rulers of any land, but they are still nobles. And so I am wondering if they are related to the world nobles or if they're just their own separate clan of royalty. It's really interesting is that they're also going to Reverie, and so I kind of would like it if after that they tag along with Sanji's family and then go to Reverie, meet Vivi, take Vivi, then go back to Wano. But of course that's not going to happen. It's already very compact as it is in terms of story, and Oda really needs to get them from Mom's Island back to Wano and then continue with the arc. But I would love to see Vivi rejoin the group, but that's not going to happen, of course. Luffy, being so one-track minded as he is, tells Reiju and her brother, give me back Sanji. And luckily, or not luckily, and a fight is avoided because they say that any fight could end the whole marriage and end the unification between the two powerful families. And so that was a bit of a stupid reason for to avoid a fight. It would have been better if Oda just didn't have Luffy say like, give me back Sanji, but that wouldn't be Luffy, because Luffy would be wanting to pick a fight as soon as possible, but sometimes it really just doesn't seem that believable as to why a fight should be avoided. So the chapter ends with Sanji's family going their separate ways, and then Luffy's family going their separate ways. They're both lost, and they both need to get their way to Whole Cake Island. And it just ends like, okay, no one's gonna mess with each other, we're just gonna go our separate ways. And the chapter ends with a mermaid under the sea, and it mentioning Jinbe. So now it's kind of interesting because it almost seems like it's almost gonna be inevitable for a new character to join the Strawhat Crew. We already got Carrot, who I really would like her to join the Straw Hat Pirates. We got Vivi back in the series, and even though it's basically impossible for her to come back as a Straw Hat Pirate, I would love for there to be a reunion and even like for her to actually join the Straw Hat Pirates, but that's not going to happen. There's really no point in delusioning myself. And then there's also Jinbe, who will be making an appearance pretty soon because he does need to finish his ties with Big Mom. And so these are 3 candidates for being on Luffy's crew, and so it's gonna be really interesting to find out what happens in the next few chapters. And I hope that we get a new crewmate and that we like them, because I wouldn't be the most disappointed if Brooke just left the crew by mistake. Thank you for watching the video, and please subscribe. I'll be making more videos, and also watch my scientific videos. They're really interesting. I have a new one coming out, and it's going to be about the genetics and eugenics, and it's going to talk about some basic genetics that you learn in general biology, and then it's going to lead into a topic, eugenics, which is very interesting. I did not realize that there are so many eugenic laws in the United States. Please stay tuned for that as well. Thank you very much.